Chosen one, the people who underestimated you are beginning to realize they did not silence you. They trained you to stop needing their permission. And that is why your presence feels different now. You are no longer fighting to be believed. You are no longer explaining what God showed you to people committed to misunderstanding you. Something in you has become quiet, clear, and almost impossible to control. But before this message ends, you will understand why the greatest threat to those who dismissed you is not your anger, your revenge, or even your success. It is what happens when God gives a clear mind to someone who has finally stopped being afraid of walking alone. You have noticed the change already. You do not answer every message. You do not defend every decision. You do not tell everyone what you are building. And when someone tries to provoke the old version of you, they meet a silence they cannot read. That silence confuses them. It once meant you were hurt. It once meant you were waiting. It once meant you were searching for the right words to make them understand. But now, your silence means something else. It means you have stopped offering explanations to people who profit from misunderstanding you. You did not become dangerous when you learned how to fight back. You became dangerous when the things that once controlled your emotions stopped controlling your decisions. They knew which button to press before. They knew when to withdraw affection. They knew when to ignore your effort. They knew when to question your ability. And every time you rushed to prove yourself, they learned that your value could still be negotiated. That season is ending. You are not becoming cold. You are becoming unavailable for control. There is a difference. And the people who benefited from your confusion can feel it before you even say a word. This is the silent recalibration. God is not making you louder. He is making you harder to manipulate. He is teaching you to protect your attention, because your attention is part of your authority. You are beginning to notice what drains you. You are seeing which conversations leave you smaller. You are recognizing the people who only feel comfortable when you doubt yourself, and, instead of fighting them, you are quietly removing their access. Comment, "My silence has power." Let those words mark a decision. You do not have to announce your next move. You do not have to explain why you changed. You only have to stop returning to places that require you to abandon yourself. But there is a question you cannot ignore. If you are stronger now, why do you still feel stuck in certain areas? If you no longer need their approval, why does your next step still feel hidden? The answer is deeper than what they did to you, and it begins with the voice you carried away from them. There was a time when being misunderstood felt unbearable. You would replay the conversation for hours. You would rewrite the message in your head. You would imagine the perfect sentence that could finally make them see what you meant. Sometimes you typed a long reply and erased it. Sometimes you checked their page, looking for proof that they regretted losing you. Sometimes you imagined the day your success would force them to admit they were wrong. There is a reason you have stopped sending the second message, stopped explaining the silence, and stopped rehearsing imaginary conversations with people who already chose their version of the story. The deepest wound was not only that they underestimated you. The deeper wound was that you slowly began to see yourself through their eyes. Their doubt became your inner voice. Their silence became evidence. Their rejection started feeling like a final judgment on your worth. So you worked harder, you gave more, you stayed longer. You tried to become so useful, so loyal, and so impressive that nobody could dismiss you again. But every attempt to prove your value gave them another chance to define what value meant. That is the hidden trap. The need to be understood can keep you connected to the very people who decided not to understand you. You may leave the room while still arguing your case inside your mind. They thought your silence meant you had nothing left to say. What they could not see was that silence was teaching you which battles never deserved your voice. You do not need a better argument. You need a new standard. Ask yourself one honest question. What would I do next if this person never understood me? Sit with that question. Do not rush past it. Your answer may reveal a dream you delayed, a boundary you avoided, or a decision you kept postponing because part of you still wanted an audience from the past. This is not about pretending their actions did not hurt. It is about refusing to build your future around their reaction. Healing does not erase the story. Healing removes their authority to write the next chapter. Not proving, preparing. That is the shift. You are preparing your mind for better decisions. You are preparing your life for relationships that do not require performance. Some people will call your change pride. They will say you became distant. They may accuse you of forgetting where you came from because they were comfortable when your loyalty meant unlimited access. Let them misunderstand the boundary. A boundary is not punishment, it is information. It tells people what can enter your life, what can remain, and what will no longer be allowed to consume your peace. Your power is returning in quiet ways. You pause before answering. You notice the guilt before obeying it. You recognize when a compliment contains control. You hear the familiar pressure, but you no longer confuse pressure with love. The next stage is more subtle. You must learn the difference between peace and emotional numbness. You must know whether you are truly free or simply too exhausted to feel, because God is not turning your heart into stone. He is teaching your heart to remain open without leaving every door unlocked. You may have wondered whether this new calm is healing or numbness. Suppression says you feel nothing while pain keeps moving underneath. Numbness makes connection feel distant. Regulation allows you to feel the emotion without handing it control of your next decision. You are not required to react quickly to prove that you have boundaries. A fast response is not always a strong response. The people who once controlled your emotions often depended on speed. They needed you to answer before you could think. They needed you to defend yourself before you could see the trap. They needed your nervous system activated, because an activated person is easier to pull back into familiar roles. Every trigger is an invitation. It asks you to become the old version again. It asks you to chase, explain, attack, apologize, or surrender. But an invitation is not a command. You can notice it without accepting it. This is the triggerless authority. It is not the absence of feeling. It is the presence of choice. When your body becomes tense, do not answer immediately. Put both feet on the floor. Let your shoulders drop. Take one slow breath. Then ask yourself a better question. What response protects the future I am building? That pause may save you from days of regret. It may prevent one message from reopening a door you worked hard to close. It may reveal that no response is needed, because silence can carry a boundary more clearly than another explanation. You may have heard this advice before. Ignore them. Focus on yourself. Let go. But knowledge was never the whole problem. Your body often reacted before your wisdom had time to speak, and that is why familiar pain kept producing familiar choices. So do not shame yourself for the old reactions. They were learned under pressure, but a pattern that helped you survive one season can quietly imprison you in the next. My child, I did not bring you out so you could keep carrying their voice inside you. Release the courtroom. You no longer need to live on trial. Comment: I choose my response. Say it as a commitment, not a slogan. Your emotions are real, but they are not your master. Your memories are real, but they do not receive the final vote. This does not mean you tolerate disrespect. It means you choose the timing, the tone, and the distance. You can leave without creating a scene. You can say no without writing an essay. That is why they feel something has changed. They no longer know which version of you will appear, because the version they knew was built around reaction. The person standing here now is built around discernment, and still another layer remains. You may be calmer, you may be wiser, you may have stronger boundaries. Yet when you sit down to build the life you prayed for, your thoughts scatter and your energy disappears. You know what matters, but you struggle to hold focus. You receive an idea, then lose it beneath noise. You sense a direction, then question it until the moment passes. This is not proof that your calling was false. Years of survival can leave the mind watching for danger even after the danger is gone. Attention becomes divided. Rest feels unsafe. The body leaves the battlefield, but the mind continues scanning the horizon. That is the next place of restoration. God did not free you only from their control. He is also teaching you how to recover the clarity that constant survival quietly consumed. Your calm is not the ending, it is the doorway. Beyond it is a mind that can recognize what matters, remain with it, and act before fear creates 10 new reasons to wait. Chosen one. Survival can end while its habits remain. The room may be safe now, the threat may be gone, yet part of your mind still wakes up prepared for impact, because it learned that peace could disappear without warning. You were not always this mentally tired. There was a time when curiosity came naturally. You could become absorbed in one idea. Your mind moved with freedom before fear taught it to monitor everything. Then pressure began to accumulate. You learned to watch faces. You measured every change in tone. You tried to predict disappointment before it arrived. And while others thought you were quiet, your attention was working overtime to keep you protected. That vigilance has a cost. Focus becomes harder to hold. Rest begins to feel unsafe. A simple decision can produce 10 competing thoughts. You open one task, remember another, check one message, then wonder why your energy suddenly disappeared. This does not mean you became less intelligent. It does not mean your gift vanished. It may mean your mind adapted so deeply to survival that it still divides attention, even when the danger is gone. Over time, stress filled that space. Lack of sleep filled it. Endless information filled it. Mental noise became so familiar that you began calling it your personality. I cannot tell you that every season of mental fog has one cause. Anyone who claims that is making the human mind too simple. But clarity deserves more than spiritual slogans, and exhaustion should not be mistaken for a lack of faith. There is another reason this new version of you is beginning to emerge, and it is not only spiritual. Researchers have been studying a condition of the human mind that may explain why some people can sense their calling, yet still struggle to act on what they know. Later, I will show you what their team says can help restore that receiving condition. For now, hold this question. What if the fog you have been blaming on yourself is not your identity? You receive a clear idea during prayer. It feels simple and true. Then the day becomes noisy. The insight loses its shape, and by evening you are searching for another message to tell you what you already knew. You decide to begin something meaningful. Then you gather more information. You compare more options. The action remains small, but the thinking becomes so large that your strength disappears before the first step. A tired mind delays decisions. A scattered mind doubts intuition. An overloaded mind consumes more guidance while acting on less of it. Eventually, you may confuse lost attention with proof that the calling was never real. The real shift begins when you realize the enemy does not always need to stop your opportunity. Sometimes, it only needs to keep you too distracted, exhausted, and emotionally activated to recognize it. Not every enemy has a face. Some obstacles appear as interruption, some arrive as restless sleep, some sound like endless inner debate. They keep you busy, but divided enough to avoid the one action that could create movement. Your restoration must go deeper than leaving the people who hurt you. You must recover the attention that survival trained you to scatter. You must learn that stillness is not danger, and that one clear decision can be safer than endless preparation. The next breakthrough begins when you stop asking only who drained you. You begin asking what condition your mind has been left in and what it now needs to receive truth without losing it beneath noise. Chosen one, there is a gap between receiving truth and living it. You can sense the direction. You can feel the warning. You can know what must change. Yet, the insight can disappear beneath noise before it becomes a decision. This is the receiver gap. It is the distance between what your spirit recognizes and what your mind can organize, remember, and carry into action. The revelation may be real, but the receiver can still be tired. You have seen this happen. An idea comes during prayer, and you promise yourself you will act on it. Hours later, your attention has been divided across messages, tasks, and other people. By evening, the idea feels distant, and you begin asking for another sign. You may know a relationship has ended in your heart, yet you analyze it again. You may feel drawn toward one opportunity, but exhaustion makes preparation feel impossible. Not a lack of revelation, a breakdown in reception. This does not mean God is limited by your mind. It means human beings still need attention, memory, discernment, and action to respond to what they believe they have received. A seed can be good, while the ground carrying it still needs care. Before any tool is mentioned, begin with what costs nothing. Reduce the amount of spiritual content you consume for one day. Write one sentence about what has become clear. Remove one unnecessary decision. Then sit in silence for 8 minutes without holding your phone. Do not use that silence to demand another answer. Use it to protect the answer already given. Your mind does not always need more input. Sometimes it needs enough space to keep one truth from being buried under 10 new voices. You may be skeptical. Perhaps you have tried to focus before. Perhaps you have used meditation, journaling, prayer, or ordinary audio tracks. You may be wondering whether this is only another way of telling you to try harder. That skepticism is reasonable. The question is not whether focus matters. The deeper question is why some people keep trying to focus, yet still feel they are using only part of their ability to think, create, and decide. I have not fully named what you are becoming yet. You are not merely a survivor, and you are not simply a chosen one. You are becoming the kind of person who can carry power without needing to perform it. Comment: my mind can receive. Let that statement become practical. Protect 1 hour today from unnecessary noise. Finish one small task before opening another. Give your attention a place to land. Earlier, I asked you to hold one question. What if the fog is not your identity? I waited until now because a solution means little until you understand the problem it was designed to address. You now see the problem. The calling may be real, the desire may be sincere, but the receiver carrying both can still be overloaded, fragmented, and tired. What the researchers found was not another demand to try harder. It was a different way of approaching the receiver itself. You can be emotionally free and still mentally scattered. You can forgive the past and still struggle to hold focus. You can believe in your future and still lose the thread of what must happen next. That is why clarity must become a condition, not only a moment. A moment inspires you. A condition supports you when inspiration fades. It helps you return to the same decision long enough for your life to begin reflecting it. You do not need to become someone else. You need to recover access to the part of you that can stay with what matters. The next reveal addresses that problem, and the choice remains yours. But here is what most spiritual messages never explain. You can receive a true revelation and still remain motionless. You can know exactly what must change and still wake up tomorrow inside the same pattern. The missing piece is not always faith. Sometimes it is the condition of the mind being asked to carry that faith into action. You were not trapped only because others underestimated you. Their doubt became self-talk. That self-talk created stress. Stress divided your attention. Divided attention weakened action, and weak action kept feeding the belief that you could not move. The way out has 2 layers. First, you stop giving the past authority over your emotions. Second, you restore the conditions that help your mind recognize, hold, and act on what matters. This is for the person who has already done inner work. You do not need more hype. You need a practical bridge between what you understand and what you repeatedly do. The clarity you have received is real, but clarity that never becomes movement slowly turns into another form of frustration. You can see the door now. The remaining question is how you prepare the mind that must walk through it. You now understand why they could no longer control you through rejection. Once that old control is broken, how do you restore the clarity needed to recognize what God is placing in front of you? Research into the divided brain helped scientists understand that the two hemispheres have specialized functions, while still working through a system more complex than simple logic on one side and creativity on the other. Dr. Roger Sperry received the Nobel Prize in 1981 for research connected to split brain function. The team behind this method uses that work as the foundation for its idea of greater communication across the brain. Their presentation describes a targeted auditory sequence designed to support what they call whole brain synchronization. This is their proposed mechanism, not a promise to cure disease, increase intelligence, or replace professional care. One woman from California said she had tried prayer, journaling, and meditation, but still struggled to feel connected to what she believed she was receiving. After using the audio, she described greater clarity and connection. A man from Texas described mental fog around important decisions. After using the program, he reported stronger focus and clearer thinking. These are personal experiences, and they do not guarantee the same result for everyone. The resource is called the Genius Switch. It is a digital audio track built around what the creator calls neural sync technology. Put on headphones, close your eyes, relax. Listen for about 8 minutes each day. There is no required mantra. There is no complicated meditation routine. Delivery is digital through email, and the purchase includes lifetime access. This may fit someone who wants a short and structured practice. It will not fit someone expecting an audio track to replace sleep, disciplined action, medical treatment, or personal responsibility. Perhaps $39 still matters to your budget. It should. Only consider the offer when the cost fits your situation, and review the official guarantee before deciding. The page presents a list price of $49 and an offer price of $39. It also includes 4 digital bonuses, a guided visualization, a grocery guide, a classic manifestation book, and a 5 habits infographic. The offer states that buyers receive lifetime access and a money-back guarantee. Prices and terms can change, so check the official page for the details available when you visit. Use the official link in the description or pinned comment to identify the offer being discussed. If the mechanism fits what you have been experiencing, read the official presentation and review the guarantee. Make the decision from clarity, not pressure. If it is not right for you, keep the free practices from this message, reduce the noise, protect one insight, complete one small action. The next step still belongs to you. Whether that resource is right for you or not, do not miss the larger truth. Your calling was never dependent on buying something, but taking responsibility for the condition of the mind carrying that calling is part of spiritual maturity. No audio can replace discipline, no tool can replace sleep, no program can make hard choices for you, and nothing you purchase should become a substitute for prayer, wise counsel, or the courage to act. The resource was offered as an option. The message remains true without it. You still have the power to reduce noise, protect your attention, and complete one meaningful action today. Now the deeper breakthrough begins. You may still believe victory must become visible enough to make someone regret doubting you. You may imagine the day they see your name, your work, your peace, or the life they thought you could never build. That fantasy can feel motivating, but it has a hidden cost. If success only feels real when people from your past witness it, then your past is still defining the meaning of your future. Revenge keeps the wound at the center. It changes the costume, but not the control. You may move forward physically while still turning around emotionally, checking whether they finally noticed. Your power was never meant for revenge. It was meant for obedience. Ask yourself one honest question. What would still matter to me if nobody from my past ever witnessed it? The answer may be quieter than the dream you used to perform. It may be a peaceful home. It may be work that serves people. It may be a body that can finally rest without expecting the next crisis. That answer belongs to you. It does not need applause. It does not need an audience from the old season. It only needs your willingness to protect it from every voice that makes it smaller. Picture yourself 6 months from now. You wake up without reaching for your phone to see who responded. Your chest feels lighter. The memory still exists, but it no longer enters the room before you do. You move through the morning with purpose. You make one decision without imagining how it will look to them. You laugh without wondering whether someone who left would feel jealous if they could see you. The distance between you and that version is not only time. It is a series of decisions where you stop giving the past a vote. It is every moment you choose peace over performance. And for the chosen one who felt something stir when the condition of the mind was mentioned, the official path remains in the description and pinned comment. There is no pressure to force a decision. Read it carefully. Let clarity, not urgency, answer for you. Comment, my future is not revenge. Let that sentence close an old contract. You do not need their regret to validate your growth. You do not need their fear to prove your strength. The real victory is not that they finally understand you. The real victory is that their understanding is no longer required for you to move. You can build something beautiful without turning it into evidence for a trial that ended years ago. You can enjoy what God gives you without imagining the faces of those who once denied your worth. So what does it truly mean when this message says you are dangerous now? It does not mean you are becoming a threat to people. It means the patterns that once owned you are losing their place to hide. You are dangerous now because manipulation no longer feels like love. You can hear guilt without obeying it. You can feel pressure without confusing it for guidance. You can leave a room without writing a speech to justify your exit. You are dangerous to every pattern that depended on your confusion. You can recognize a familiar trap before stepping inside it. You can survive being misunderstood without turning against yourself. You can delay a response. You can change your mind when new truth appears. You can receive advice without surrendering your authority. You can build quietly without announcing every step. I have seen this pattern many times. The old system does not fear anger as much as it fears independence. Anger can still be triggered. Independence cannot be controlled the same way. The moment they truly lose power over you is not the moment they see you succeed. It is the moment you can remember what they did without allowing the memory to decide what you do next. That is what makes you dangerous now. Not rage, not revenge, not a performance of strength. It is the clear mind that notices what is happening and chooses what happens next. Picture another morning ahead of you. A decision that once created months of delay is sitting in front of you. Fear is still present, but it no longer creates 10 different directions. You see one step. You send the email. You open the document. You submit the application. You set the boundary. You begin the conversation you kept postponing. The breakthrough is not that every result becomes guaranteed. The breakthrough is that you have become someone who can act before fear turns one clear step into endless analysis. This is the clear-minded chosen one. You do not know every answer. You do not pretend to see the whole road, but you are quiet enough to listen, clear enough to discern, and brave enough to move. Your strength is no longer measured by how loudly you can defend yourself. It is measured by how faithfully you can protect what God placed in your care. Place both feet on the floor. Let your shoulders soften. Take one slow breath. Now picture a door in front of you. Behind it is the season you have sensed for a long time. The door is not locked. The noise simply made it difficult to notice where the handle was. Place one hand over your chest or your stomach. Say these words slowly. I do not need their permission to recognize my next step. Let the sentence settle. You are not asking for permission anymore. You are accepting responsibility for what has already become clear. God may not show you the whole staircase. He may show you one honest conversation, one application, 1 hour of focused work, or one boundary that must finally become real. Do not despise the small instruction. The future often enters through a decision that looks ordinary. Your calling becomes visible when repeated obedience gives it a shape. One clear action today can become the foundation of a life that no longer bends around fear. And when the noise falls away, there is one voice that does not need to shout. Chosen one, let this closing become a place of release. This is not a prayer for another person to fail. It is a prayer that you no longer need their failure to feel that your life can rise. God, release the need to be vindicated. Release the conversations that keep repeating in the mind. Release the apology that may never come, and the fear that being overlooked means being forgotten. Remove the desire to use success as punishment. Remove the belief that peace must wait until everyone understands. Teach this heart to move forward without carrying a courtroom into every new room. Restore clarity. Restore calm before reaction. Restore the wisdom to recognize opportunity without chasing every distraction. Give strength for one small and faithful step. Bring rest to the part of this person that has remained alert for too long. Teach the body that peace is not a warning. Protect this mind from decisions made in panic. Protect this life from relationships that only survive when the soul becomes smaller. Protect this person from mistaking adrenaline for confirmation. Let no tool become an idol. Let no promise replace responsibility. Let support remain support, while faith, rest, action, and wise care remain in their proper place. My child, you were never hidden because you were insignificant. You were hidden until the need to be seen could no longer govern you. Walk forward now, not to frighten those behind you, but to become faithful to what I have placed before you. They underestimated you because they measured the version that still needed approval. What unsettles them now is the person who cannot be pulled away from purpose by rejection. God is not making you dangerous to people. He is making you dangerous to self-doubt. He is making you dangerous to emotional manipulation, inherited patterns, chronic hesitation, and the life you were told to accept. You do not need to announce what is changing. Let your peace reveal it. Let your decisions reveal it. Let the life you build in private answer what you once tried to explain in public. Comment, I walk forward, clear. Let that be your final agreement with this message. Like this video if it gave language to something you have been feeling. Share it with someone who has been misunderstood, but is learning not to build a life around being understood. Chosen one, they measured the seed while God was strengthening the root. They mistook your silence for weakness because they could not see what silence was removing from you. Walk gently, walk clearly. Do not return to the version of yourself that needed permission to grow. The next step does not need to impress anyone. It only needs to be true.